Hello! Welcome back to Brag Better Day. We made it to lunch. Hopefully you got a snack, a drink, a stretch. Since I am the MC, I changed into my Friday afternoon tie-dye. I'm Meredith Fineman, the host of this and the author of Brag Better. Hi, Tonya.
Hey, how are you?
Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
You're just tuning back in. I'm going to hop out in a minute because Tonya and Marti are going to have a lovely conversation. If you are just joining, this is Brag Better Day, incredible women talking about the work they've done in spirit of the book I wrote, but also in spirit of friendship and community and uplifting our voices and the voices of others. So excited for this next interview, so I will hop off, but all of the links to webinars, we're going strong till 6 p.m. tonight, are listed on the Brag Better Day splash that invite, and you can share them. So take it away, ladies. I'm gonna peace out till the end.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Meredith. Hi, Tonya.
Hi, Marty. So happy to see you.
So great to see you.
Good.
I love those frames.
Thank you.
Okay, well, first, again, thank you, Meredith, for curating such a wonderful space for us to kind of all come together and focus on bragging better. I am beyond thrilled to talk to you today, Tonya. I've been inspired by you and your work long before we met those years ago in Cannes. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love what you're doing too, Marty.
Thanks. So, one of my friends, Lauren, she always starts and asks me, how are you really? So how are you? How are you doing with everything that's going on?
I have to say there are moments when I have really great days and then moments when I feel really stressed. I'm not going to lie. This situation with COVID, I do find stressful. Trying to figure out like how we're planning our lives into the future. What's the fall going to look like? But I'm blessed. I am so blessed. Thank God everyone around me, knock on wood, so far is well. And we're making the best of it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Good. So when I was reading Meredith's book, Brag Better, I loved the section on bragging for others. So I wanted to start our conversation doing a little bit of bragging on you, Tonya. There's just so much that you've accomplished, from being a best-selling author, director, and film producer, an activist, as well as being an advocate. And I really wanted to kind of just start somewhere at the beginning and see if you could talk to us a little bit about just your pivot from being a corporate attorney to your social justice work, whether that was in co-authoring several of the children's books that you've written, producing the documentary on Brown versus Board of Education. Just wanted to hear how you made that transition.
Sure. When I first went to law school, I actually thought I would work in civil rights. The thought was that by becoming a lawyer, I could use my skills in that way to help other people. That was my initial thought. And then my father said, oh my God, you're not gonna make any money, so you need to go to corporate law. So I ended up, and then I discovered, oh my gosh, coming out of law school, I could make a good living and learn a lot. So I did go the corporate route. But there was always this pull. And also when I was in law school, I did clerk for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. I did clerk for the Human Rights Watch. So, always looking for ways in which to do some sort of social justice. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't really love corporate law. I didn't mind the work, but it just wasn't the environment for me. And, when I got married, and I was pregnant 6 months after we were married. So it was a lot of stuff happening quickly.
Right.
My husband was very supportive of me doing whatever I wanted to be doing at the time. And at that time, I really wanted to try to work on my craft as a writer. So I began writing, and that's really, and I thought about maybe doing a magazine, and I tried that for a couple of years and couldn't get my magazine up and going. But then began thinking about how could I contribute using my art skills or my writing skills, using my legal background. And that sort of got me to the books. I was watching my children grow up in the world, seeing the world through their eyes, realizing that there weren't any children's books that featured kids that look like them just in the day of the life, or very few really.
Right.
And I said, somebody should, and why not me? And so that's sort of what began my creative career, starting with the children's books and then going more into production. But everything really does come from a basis of, I think, trying to show the world who Black people are, and who, for Black people and for the broader population. I think media is really important because I think it informs who we think of, how we think of ourselves and who we are. And so I'm trying to always slip it in there, even when it's just purely entertainment.
I love that. I mean, and so representation is just so important, you know, as you were saying. And when you decided to shift into, you know, film producing and working on the documentary on Brown versus Board, was it just trying to make sure that you were staying with that narrative and making sure that you were telling more of our stories?
Somewhat, but it was also, at that time, I had been working I had started producing at Nickelodeon. I had a wonderful mentors there. It's when I sort of began to learn how to actually produce. And I was also on the board of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund at the time. Again, always keeping my foot connected to that, and realizing that the 50th anniversary of that decision was coming up, and really wanted to figure out how to make that decision relevant to young people at the time. And so it was thinking about a project that could let young people, or somehow get young people engaged in the conversation about Brown as a decision, and getting them to understand that that decision has an impact on their lives today.
Right.
And getting them to think about, what does that mean for them? You know, and how they live, and hopefully sparking a little social justice in young people as well.
Exactly. I mean, I think there's so many issues that I've seen in your career that you have kind of taken up the charge on. You've been a champion for women's health, you know, for decades. And as a Black woman living with multiple sclerosis, I know how critical it is, especially for young Black women, to see other women that look like them, you know, raising their voices, you know, taking advantage of the platforms that we have, and really being at the forefront of that advocacy. I know that there's your vitamin line that you started back in 2005, which also focuses on prenatal vitamins, and then really shifting your issues and focus on infant mortality and, you know, Black maternal mortality. And just wanted to hear how you kind of, you know, stumbled upon that, or has it always been something that you've been, you know, passionate about?
Yeah, you know, back in 2007, the US Department of Health and Human Services asked me to be a spokesperson for their infant mortality awareness raising campaign here in the United States.
Okay.
And honestly, at the time, I did not realize that the United States was ranking very high of industrialized nations in infant mortality, which is the death of a child after a live birth before its first birthday. And an infant mortality is used to mark the health of a nation, because if babies are dying early, that means that there's something going on with a woman's health, right? So when we talk about infants' health, we're really talking about women's health. And so I got involved in the campaign, and I traveled the country. I had the opportunity to be around a lot of incredibly committed, wise, educated people who were really on the front lines dealing with these issues every day. And I really wanted to get some of the information I was hearing out to a broader audience, sort of as a girlfriend to girlfriend kind of thing. Because what I was seeing out there was that when it comes to women's health, and especially Black women's health, America is not doing very well. And back then, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned that it's really important for us to see other women out there sort of engaged in self-care. And what does that mean to really take care of oneself and really be a healthy person? When I started, you know, it was really hard to find images of Black women just being healthy. We talked about the bad statistics, but we didn't show the other side of what it looks like. And I was really trying to work to do that. And so for me, that was really the beginning of my exposure to what was happening in America to women and women of color when it comes to our health. And it has become a lifelong passion, because what I know is good health, our healthy living is a journey. It is a lifestyle. It is not it's a never ending journey. You don't get there and you're done. I mean, it's in every moment that you make of your life. And it takes a lot of support. It's not easy. It takes a lot of support. It takes a lot of reminding yourself. And I just really, I feel that I have, as you say, a platform and a place to be able to be that for women, right? Because I fall off the wagon sometimes too. And I'm always looking for some sort of support. I go online like, oh my God, I've gained weight. How do I lose this weight? Or, I'm feeling kind of stressed. How do I, and I really want to be a source for women to help them through that. And that's why, I founded Movita Organics. It is a vitamin supplement line. But before that, I did found a platform called Healthy You Now that was a content website, sort of a blog.
Okay.
And so I'm now combining those things. The vitamin supplement, I'm very proud of it. It's a really wonderful product. But honestly, it's a way for me to continue the conversation with women about how to live a healthy lifestyle, because I'm the first person to tell you no one pill is going to do it. It's got to be a part of an overall thing.
The whole
Our
regimen.
product is very good, but it's not going to solve all your problems.
Right, exactly. But it's bringing that that awareness when you even hear about the crazy statistics with COVID-19, happening in, our particular communities, and just how, whether it's the socioeconomic status or, just what's kind of happening from the start in our homes about really making wellness and health, a priority.
Well, I'll tell you too. I mean, I am deep in this. I just had a conversation yesterday with an organization called Health Equity Initiative, which brought together some community-based organizations to talk about the devastation of COVID, particularly since you brought that up. And it has devastated our communities. I hear people are hungry. That's number one. Food. People are feeling. People have lost jobs. They've lost income. They need food. Still, I mean, it can feel to those of us on the East Coast like things are, evening out.
Yeah.
But people are hungry. People are engaged in substance abuse, and I'm hearing the levels are going back up to the 80s. We're hearing about violence in communities, so it's been really tough on our community, and they need a lot of support and a lot of help, and trying to figure out how to connect people with money to the community organizations that really need it is one thing I'm trying to do. The other thing you mentioned, the maternal mortality rate in the United States is going up. I'm currently working on a documentary right now about this issue. We started documenting a family in December who lost a mother in October, and since then there have been several deaths related to complications from childbirth. There was just a march yesterday in Brooklyn that we were covering for a woman named Asia Washington who recently passed away. And look, the thing about this is, we focus, there is a disparity, but those of us who are most vulnerable in the community are like the cages in the coal, the canaries in the coal mine for everybody else.
Right.
I often say, even if you don't care about Black people, you should be paying attention, because that's what ultimately will come for the broader community if we don't solve the problem.
If we don't do something about it now.
Exactly.
You brought up how things, appear to seem like they might be leveling off with the pandemic on the East Coast, but, here in Los Angeles, we are still very much on pause when it comes to film and production. And so I know that I actually was able to see a screening of your film Monster that premiered at Sundance in 2018, this documentary that you're working on. How are you and your team handling being in production, with these delays? I know that there's some other filmmakers, myself included, that are, listening in. How's that been?
So when we initially went on lockdown with our subjects for the documentary, we ended up getting iPhone 11s and sending them out to them and asking them to try to self-document through this time. That's one way. Now that in New York, we're a little more opened and the cases seem lower, we're being very careful. We've had a few shoots, but everyone is covered. People are social distancing. We are doing shoots outside as opposed to really going inside, although this coming up this week, I think we may go into someone's home to shoot, but it'll be a very small crew. You know, okay. We keep the imprint small, and everybody's covered. And we do the best we can. And it's interesting because here on the East Coast, I think we're concerned that we're going to get another wave in the fall. So what we're trying to do, while we have a little window, we're trying to get as much shot as we can right now in preparation for what's going to happen. In terms of other production, it's for me, I'm also working on another project that I'm starting to write on. So I'm early in the process. So at least I can do that, and maybe by the time we actually get to production, things will be better.
Maybe they will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many of us, during this time, I think we're trying to just find our footing. Every day is a different scenario. So there's so much uncertainty. And I think more than ever that today's conference is just so important. And so I was reading an interview that you did with Goop about making sure that you have great partners on your team to collaborate with. And Meredith even touches on this in chapter 5 of her book about being strategic. And I just wanted to just hear from you a little bit more on that in terms of how vital you feel like, having the right team around you is, and just what that process has been for you with making sure you have the right people in place.
Yeah, I mean, the right team is key. Partnership is key. I know that there's a lot of work that I want to do, and I can't do it all by myself. And so I need to have good people that I work with who understand what I bring to the project, whatever project it is, and know what they bring. Collaboration is key in everything. And so, and it's not always easy. Partnership can be complicated and tough. But the key to me in that is communication, everyone being really honest about what they can and can't do, and what they are and what they are and are not bringing, and everybody staying in their lane.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's often when trouble comes. Right? When people start swerving into everybody else's lane, or if people are not secure and they're concerned that one person's getting more attention than the other. For me, I feel like the work that I do, even if it, again, pure entertainment, it is mission driven. So I want to get it done. And so I need people to help me get it done. And it can be very interesting partners. My partner in my vitamin company was formerly a CEO at another vitamin company. I love working with him. He's a great partner. If I had seen him on the street, I probably wouldn't have thought that he and I would be, but it's been a wonderful partnership. And I've been very lucky because I do have really smart people who get in line with the missions that I'm on. I think when we're trying to do good work, people want to do good work. So yeah, collaborations are key.
That's great. What would you say to, a newer filmmaker, a newer producer, in terms of what advice you maybe would impart to them of what to try to maybe focus on, whether it's, building that network, just kind of how to really kind of begin, for people that are just getting started?
I would first say, think about what you want your work to be. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? I think that's really key. Thinking about what it is that you're trying to put out in the world and why you're trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And then I think, to your point, what you just said was who's going to help you? Who's going to be your team? I think that is like really critical. Who's going to be the team that rides with you throughout? And who you can rely on time and time again. There are some spaces sometimes where I wish I had, I keep trying to find my go-to group. Right. You know what I mean? Like when I've got a production, this is the team, and I have some of that, right? Like I know who I'm going to call and they're going to come. Like,
Right.
you need your people, and then if they need you, you're going to come for them. Like, you need sort of that team that you can rely on. And then I would say be prepared to work much harder than you think. I think people often don't really understand how hard the work is, and that it's nonstop, and there's no way around it. There are no shortcuts. It is getting the work done, always being prepared, and having integrity. That would be the other thing I would say. I don't believe that there are really any shortcuts, and I think it's really critical that you are somebody whose word really matters. If you say something and you mean it, or if it's a problem, you're okay being transparent, talking it through.
Right.
Trying to go behind people's backs and sneak in and that doesn't, ultimately that's going to catch up with you. But really being somebody who has a work ethic and integrity goes a long way.
I think, especially I would say in film and entertainment, I think that integrity piece is what's so important, because there's just so many of those backdoor conversations, and you're surprised at how small Hollywood is, and so it really will follow you, your reputation. And as a newer filmmaker myself, I mean, I know my first feature, I was craft services, I was transportation, I was also a gaffer, it was all hands on deck. So it definitely, to your point, is a lot of work, and it's more than, you think it will be.
And it takes longer to get to where you want to be.
Much longer.
It really does. But, if you stay at it and never give up, and it's really what you want to be doing, then you'll get there, and you'll do the work that you want to be doing. But no one's going to give it to you. You're going to have to earn it.
Exactly. So I know we have the doc that you're working on. We mentioned Monster. When do you think we'll be seeing these things? Can you share what's up and coming that we can be on the lookout?
My hope, I believe Monster will be coming out either the end or beginning of this year. I can't say yet where yet, but it is in the works. So that will be out soon, finally.
That's so good.
Yeah, my maternal mortality documentary. I mean, we're just shooting that, so we've got some time. That's going to take a little bit of time to get here. But I'm right now, I feel like I'm in the woodshed. So lots of work being done. I'm very busy, and hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, all of that will be starting to come on out.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. Well, again, thank you so much for just taking the time. And again, thank you to Meredith. This is, I think, all the tools I think that we need to focus on to promote ourselves and, put in the work, as you said. It's just been a great day already. And so this was a great conversation too.
And I love it too, Marty, I've got to say, and there are lessons I can learn, because I can sometimes be the person who puts her head down and just does the work. And I forget, you got to tell people, because they don't know if you don't tell them. So I really appreciate this conversation and your book, Meredith.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, yes, nobody knows what you've done until you tell them, what you want till you ask them. Listening to the two of you is so inspiring and important, and so many issues that need to be discussed and brought into the light of day. I'd love to ask you both, in the spirit of bragging better, what would you like to brag about or plug? And I will be sending an email out to all 500 attendees with all your info and what you want to share, but giving everyone a little bit of space to practice bragging about themselves, even though it's hard. I want you to plug whatever you want to plug.
Okay, well, I'll go first. I just want to plug this documentary that I'm making I'm co-directing and co-producing with a woman named Paula Eizelt. And it is a large form documentary. We're really excited about it. We have, as I said, we have already shot a little bit of it, and we're in the process of shooting, but we're also in the process of fundraising. So if there's anyone out there who's looking for an amazing film that's going to truly make impacts, because it will, I would love to share it with you, and see if you're interested in coming on board and joining us.
Amazing. I didn't have enough space in the book, and I will put this out into the universe, that I would like to write a sequel to Brag Better on how to brag better with money. Asking for money and asking for recognition are very similar.
Yeah.
Just literally different
Agreed.
currencies. So it's so important to understand how bragging is tied to fundraising, or, you know, getting personally compensated or given a raise. And I field those questions all the time. So yes, you should give your money to Tonya, your documentary, and I will send more information on that. Marti, what do you want to plug?
Okay, I want to brag about my current feature, which is called Paper Friends. It is airing on BET Her right now. So you can stream it through Amazon. You can watch it online at BET.com. So please tune into Paper Friends. And I am in early development on the next project that I am working with my producing partner on, called We All Need Therapy, which we all do need.
For sure.
So that should be
fundraising. So on the lookout for that as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you both so much for this, for lending your time and your expertise. If you're tuning in, this is Brag Better Day. We're going strong until 6 p.m. These sessions are being recorded and will eventually be posted. You will get follow-up emails with information on all panelists and how to support them, how they want to be supported with their brags as well. And then we're going to take a quick break until 2:05 when we do a conversation, incredible panel of women in leadership and the power of your network. And before any last words, Tonya and Marti, before we take a little break.
Bye, Brag Better.
Yeah, Brag Better. And Meredith, thank you so much. Thank you for the book. And thank you for the thought, because I think, you know, we can really use it. I certainly can be reminded no matter where we are in our careers. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Meredith.
Here.
Thank you, Marti. So great to see your beautiful face today. Thank you.
Too. Stay safe. See you in the vineyard, hopefully.
Yeah, see you guys at 2:05. That link is on. You've been emailed it several times, but you can also find it on the invite. So see you shortly.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.